Welcome back. Just 4 legislative days now to go until the government potentially shuts down. Democrats are unveiling their own stopgap spending proposal to counter the GOP's clean continuing resolution. This proposal will fund the government through October 31st. It includes an extension of Affordable Care Act subsidies, provisions on Medicaid and rescissions, and $490 million for public broadcasting. Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer says the Republican CR does not, quote, address the growing crisis in health care that Republicans have caused, he claims, with their, quote, big, ugly betrayal, or prevent a massive spike in health care costs for millions of Americans, says Chuck Schumer. House Speaker Mike Johnson, meanwhile, is warning the Democrats if they will lose if the shutdown centers around health care. A House vote is expected tomorrow morning. Joining me now is New York Congressman Nick Langworthy. Congressman, good to see you. Thank you so much for being here. And, of course, Tuesday afternoon, the House released the stopgap spending bill that funds the government at current levels through Thursday, November 20th, 1 week before Thanksgiving. Your thoughts on now the Democrats coming in with a different version?
Well, I mean, what Senator Schumer presented yesterday was simply ludicrous. I mean, the idea that Republicans, for what Senator Schumer is proposing is a 30-day extension of the funding of the government, are going to roll back any changes that we made in the big, beautiful bill. We're going to make the Affordable Care Act subsidies that they put in for COVID emergency spending, we're going to make that permanent for a 30-day extension. I mean, they want to shut down the government, and Chuck Schumer and his Democratic senators will own this. That is their choice to shut down the government. If my Democratic colleagues in the House vote against the CR tomorrow, they will be actively voting to shut down the government. I mean, there's no other way to put it.
Yeah, I mean, you know, it stuns me to think about putting the money which was issued during COVID back in, because you all have been saying repeatedly that you want to get back to pre-COVID spending. And obviously, we all know that there was way too much spending in response to COVID. But I guess that's what the Democrats want. They want those subsidies back in place.
They've never met a dollar that they couldn't find a way to spend. I mean, they have just a complete misunderstanding of our debt and where we're at in this country at $37 trillion in debt. And they want to continue to spend with reckless abandon. The idea that we would roll back all of the reforms that we worked half a year to do, that 77 million Americans fought for and voted for last November to get a 30-day extension of the government. I mean, they're not serious. They want to shut down because they want to answer to their very angry left-wing base that has Trump derangement syndrome. This is what this is all about.
So where is this going then? I mean, the bill is subject to a 60-vote threshold in the Senate, which, of course, is 53 to 47, GOP controlled. You're going to need Democrats in the Senate. And, of course, the House can only afford to lose 2 Republicans if all Democrats vote no. And that's Representative Massey is a public no from Kentucky. So where is this going? Will we see a shutdown then?
We have to stick together. We have to pass this through the House first.
Yeah.
I certainly urge my colleagues to stick together. President Trump has asked us to join united, to stand with what he's trying to do to keep this country going in the right direction. A vote against this for petty disagreements. This is a clean spending level. This is a clean CR, keeps the government open, and keeps the core function. I've never believed in shutdowns because I think that when you're taxing people at the level we are in this country, when the government's not there to respond to their needs, that is a disservice.
Yeah.
These shutdowns never work, and Chuck Schumer is going to learn that too. I mean, Senator Fetterman has the common sense to say that he supports keeping the government open. We're going to see how many Democratic senators agree with Senator Schumer's ridiculous playbook, or just want to do the right thing for the taxpayers in their states and districts. All
right. Let me move on to Charlie Kirk's assassination. Of course, it has reignited the debate over Section 230 protection for social media companies. The videos of the shooting and misinformation around it spread rapidly online. And House Oversight Committee Chairman James Comer has invited the CEOs of Discord, Reddit, Twitch, and Steam, all to testify October 8th to address the radicalization found online and incitement to politically motivate violence. Congressman, what do you want to see here?
Well, I think that we have a lot of questions. In Section 230, I mean, is up for some serious debate. I think something's got to be done. These things were put in place to, protect these companies from, disagreements between neighbors about libelous information. what we have here is a radicalization movement, and it's not, really your mainstream social media platforms. We're looking more at the Twitch and Discord and these things that have a gaming overlap with that gaming culture. We're seeing a radicalization time and again that's coming through these platforms. I think we have a lot of questions to ask these people, and we have to learn more and more about this culture surrounding the killer in Utah that stole the life of a great American, Charlie Kirk.
He sure did. And Paul, he wanted to be more of a gamer.
Yeah.
Right? The suspect.
He did, and the roommate did as well. The roommate is described as an aspiring gamer. It makes you wonder how these two were keeping heart and soul together, where the money was coming from relative to 230. This goes back to the foundational days of the Internet. The idea was to keep it open, to keep free speech going, make it ultimate First Amendment. However, we get into some dangerous territory, and the early decisions came down in such a way that said, if you put forward that you're going to regulate, you're going to provide oversight, then you own that. That made the companies pull back. We don't want to do that. We don't have to want to hire a ton of people. It blew the doors open. A lot of these forums are very, very unregulated. And let's remember something else. Under the Biden administration, speech was regulated relative to COVID.
That's right.
And that flew. So now we're seeing a pullback. It's going to be interesting to see how this goes in a different environment.
That's exactly right. And people are getting canceled left and right. I like the White House's response to Jimmy Kimmel getting canceled, and that is welcome to cancel consequences. New York Governor Kathy Hochul, meanwhile, Congressman, is defending her endorsement of New York City mayoral candidate Zohran Mamdani after President Trump threatened to withhold federal money from New York. Hochul is arguing that the Democrat socialist mayoral is the best candidate to fight the president. This is her goal, fight the president, instead of actually making New York better. Mamdani did not even immediately endorse Hochul for her own governor's race next year, nor have prominent Capitol Hill Democrats jumped in for him, including Chuck Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries. Where is this going? What do you think this says about the country?
Well, Kathy Hochul once again knuckled under to her radical base, the people that elected Mamdani in the Democratic primary. This is a matter of defending New York. The greatest, largest city, the most important city in America is on the line. And Kathy Hochul has rubber stamped the idea that a socialist or a communist is going to run that city. And he's surrounded by a lot of the same ideology in that New York City Council. We've seen their bad policies. What they need is a moderating force in that city that can be a force to administer the city. This is not a social experiment as mayor of New York. You're going to need to run a city and make sure things are happening in the right direction. Yeah. Kathy Hochul is completely wrong-headed. And then you see the Speaker of the New York State Assembly yesterday saying he's ready to go along with raising taxes on New Yorkers with Mayor Mamdani. Yeah, I mean, this is where New York's heading.
Congressman, let's face it, there is a Republican in the race. It's Curtis Sliwa. Okay, are you going to support Curtis Sliwa? Are you going to get behind the Republican in this race?
Listen, I live in Buffalo, New York. No one cares what I think about the New York City mayor's race in the Republican primary.
Why don't you endorse the Republican in the race?
Curtis Sliwa has recruited himself into this race. I don't think he's got a credible path forward. I think you heard the same out of the president earlier this week when he was on Fox News. I think all the candidates that don't have a credible path forward need to just really do some self-reflection. Do they care about the city, or do they care about their own vanity projects?
Well, can you say he doesn't care about the city? He founded the Guardian Angels. He cares about crime. He's been on this program.
He's done some amazing things, Maria.
Yep.
He's done some amazing things, but he's not going to be the next mayor of New York. I mean, I think it's pretty crystal clear.
All right, we'll leave it there. Congressman, we'll be watching the work. We so appreciate your time. Congressman Nick Langworthy this morning.